The National Restaurant Association show is about to begin NRA here in Chicago. And so what we're doing is we are taking Give Ovation on the streets. And we are going to be doing a 2-question podcast. We're going to figure out what are the most important aspects to focus on for the next 12 months and what are some tactics used to improve the guest experience. And you never know who you're going to bump into. Like, for example, right here, let's start a podcast with Sean Walchef.
Hey!
Oh, hey, Sean.
Yes. Are we live?
Oh, wait, here we go. You ready?
We live? Live streaming?
No,
Twitch?
we're not.
Are we on Twitch? Zach's going on Twitch.
Okay.
Kyle, shout out to Ovation. We're going to go live on Twitch.
I am here with
Sean Walchef, Cali Barbecue Media.
Okay, Sean, what should restaurants be focused on for the next 12 months?
Guest retention.
And what are some tactics to improve the guest experience?
Talk to your guests.
Boom, Sean Walchef.
That's a mic drop.
Never know who you're going to bump into at the NRA. And here we go, mic drop. Too expensive. Dance off.
Next time we'll be live streaming.
I'm here with...
Hello and howdy doody, folks. This is Justin Roundy.
With?
Ovation.
All right, we're doing Man in the Street interviews, Justin. 2-question podcast. Number 1, what should restaurants be focused on for the next 12 months?
Guest feedback. Get more guest frequency. Get your guests back in the door.
What are some tactics you would recommend to guests to improve the guest experience? To restaurants to improve the guest experience?
Listen to your guests any way possible. More than your online reviews.
There we go. Heard it here. Justin Roundy, Man on the Street. 2-question podcast. I'm here with...
Troy Hooper
of
Hot Palate America Pepper Lunch Restaurant Brands.
Buzzing. All right, Troy, what should restaurants be focused on for the next 12 months?
AI to make your life easier and more efficient.
And what are some tactics used to improve the guest experience?
Use Ovation.
Oh,
Hey,
love
we use
that.
Ovation.
Love you, Troy. 2-question podcast. I'm here with
Brandon Barton.
of
Bite.
what is something restaurant operators should be doing for the next 12 months?
Adopting kiosk as fast as humanly possible. That's not just because I'm a kiosk guy, but really it saves money and it increases your average check. The only way to have less customers and increase your revenue is to increase average check. It's just math. Do it.
Buzzing. One tactic to improve the guest experience.
Ooh, smiling. Make sure your team smiles. Everybody communicates with non-verbal cues. Smile.
Out of the mouth of a Danny Meyer protege. Thanks, Brandon.
Shots.
2-question podcast with
Scott Porter,
of
San Diablo Churros,
what should restaurants be focused on for the next 12 months?
flavor.
Ooh, love that. What is something to improve the guest experience?
Always just look to humanize every touch point.
Buzzing. Here we go. 2-question podcast. I am here with
Ming Tai Ha.
of
Square.
Ming. What is something that restaurants should be focused on for the next 12 months?
Oh, well, you got to pay attention to AI. I know it's a buzzword, but it's definitely here, and it's being more accessible than ever before. Really excited for that. Square AI release actually just this week.
Hey, there we go. What is a tactic to improve the guest experience?
Look, I think you have to make sure that you're making it human still, that you're making eye contact, really make the technology invisible. Look, I sell technology, I work with technology, use technology every day. But really, you got to make sure that human connection is always part of the center core.
There we go. From restaurateur and technologist, Ming. Buzzing. Thank you.
Awesome.
All right. 2-question podcast. I am here with
Marcus Vasidi with Informa Food Service.
what should restaurants be focused on for the next 12 months?
Guest frequency.
And what is a tactic to improve the guest experience?
Getting more reviews and responding to those reviews.
Buzzing. Marcus. 2-question podcast. I'm here with
Derek Rosenbaum,
of
Groucho's Deli.
what is something restaurants should be focused on for the next 12 months?
Reputation management.
And what is a tactic to improve the guest experience?
Listening to your customers and taking immediate action.
Buzzing. All right, 2-question podcast here with...
Michael Beck. Is that the first question?
No, it's not.
Okay.
That's not a question, technically.
This
All
is
right,
to be
hold on.
expected, everybody.
2-question podcast here with...
Michael Beck.
of
Intake GTM.
what should restaurants be focused on for the next 12 months?
Guest engagement.
What is a tactic to improve the guest experience?
Listen to their feedback.
Listen. Buzzing. 2-question podcast. I'm here with...
Karen Stotts, woohoo!
of...
Hawaiian Bros and Kura Revolving Sushi Bar.
Amen. What should restaurants be focused on for the next 12 months?
Driving the top line sales. It's a battle for market share.
And what is a tactic to improve the guest experience?
Bring Ovation on board.
Buzzing. 2-question podcast. I'm here with...
Sam Okus, editor-in-chief of Nation's Restaurant News.
There we go. What should restaurants be focused on for the next 12 months?
How do you get through not knowing what's coming tomorrow? I don't know. Uncertainty is what everybody says to me. So, like, how do you find any kind of certainty? Study, read Nation's Restaurant News.
Amen. What's a tactic to improve the guest experience?
Collect data on them, understand what they want based on their consumer behavior, and then act according to the data and what it's telling you. Listen to your customers, give them what they want, create a great experience. Pay attention to all 5 senses. If you do that, it's a great experience.
Buzzing. 2-question podcast. I am here with...
Jim Sheridan.
of...
Unforked.
what is something restaurants should be focused on for the next 12 months?
Making sure their guests love their experience.
Amen. And what can you do to improve the guest experience?
Know how they feel when they walk out the door.
Amen. Buzzing. Oh, by the way, bonus question. How's Ovation been helpful for you?
It's really helped us know about the little problems that we wouldn't have known about without Ovation.
Amen. Thanks, Jim. Two question podcast here with
Sarah Gruenberg
of
Monteverde Restaurant in Chicago.
what is something restaurants should be focused on for the next 12 months?
Ooh, I think productivity and finding a way to connect the dots with all the technology that we have. So information systems, inventory, reservation, POS.
Love that. Data unification. And what is a tactic to improve the guest experience?
I think being on the floor more and not being behind the scenes and being able to touch the tables, touch the guests, and use the data we have of what the guests like and what they're looking for to help curate a special experience for them.
Buzzing. Thank you. All right. I am here with
Sean Feeney.
of
Lilia Missy Pasta Feeney Pizza from Williamsburg, Brooklyn.
Holy cow, that sounds like a Dr. Seuss book. What is something that restaurants should be focused on for the next 12 months?
AI. Just go crazy on AI. Every little thing that you're doing in your restaurant, think about how you can utilize AI. Executive management, HR, financial forecasting, how you're doing currently, communications, presentations, partnership pitches, absolutely every piece of operational management of your restaurant, CRM, guest experience, every little facet of your restaurant, figure out how you can utilize AI to empower your teams to make it an even more amazing experience for others.
Dude, love that. And what's a tactic that you would recommend to improve the guest experience?
Before they enter your doors, try to find a way in the time they make a reservation until they enter your doors, because that is when the experience starts. Try to find a way to personalize or make them feel like you're reaching out in a personal way to ask them, sparkling or still, would you like a cocktail before you sit down? Maybe send them a video of something that you're very excited about at the restaurant at this moment, or have a team member text them something from them who are going to serve them. I would say focus on the experience of that guest, the experience before they walk in your doors, and try to make them feel more excited and more seen before they're even in your presence. That's what I would say.
Buzzing. Thanks, Sean.
All right, thank you.
Two question podcast with
James Bonanno, Upstream Hospitality.
what should restaurants be focusing on for the next 12 months?
Using Ovation, obviously. You know, it's cliche, but right, it's all about the guest experience, right? That's what we do in the restaurant industry. And, you know, just having a conversation right here on the side, been using Ovation for years, and it allows us to really, especially a multi-unit operator, when as the founder I'm not in the stores every day, gives me an understanding and visibility of what's going on in my stores, which is different in all different stores, right? I was just saying, one store needs to focus on X, that store needs to focus on Y. Ovation definitely gives us that visibility into those stores and kind of what we need to pay attention to.
Awesome. You rock.
Thanks, Zach. You too, man.
Two question podcast. I'm here with
Peter Sclafani from Making Raving Fans Hospitality Group.
And what is something that restaurants should be focusing on for the next 12 months?
I think right now we're focusing on how we can use AI better because it's so new and you know it's going to be so big, but we got to figure out how we're going to take that and use it to our advantage.
And what's a tactic that restaurants can use to improve the guest experience?
Okay, so I'm going to give you my $1 million secret.
Oh.
We write personalized messages in dessert plates. And so when we do that, it forces the server to focus on the guest to find something personal to write about. So don't just say, happy birthday. We got to at least know your name. But I'll tell you, when I first started doing it, what we found out, because my staff didn't believe me, after I had the big meeting, the very first table they came in, they said, oh my God, you were right, chef, this table, they're here with their mom. Their mom was just diagnosed with cancer. They think it might be their last birthday with them.
Oh, wow.
It becomes so much more important. What we do is not transactional anymore. It's not like, hey, I'm gonna give you a chicken breast, you give me $20. We're affecting people's lives. We're creating these memories.
Connection.
And it's that connection, and you can get the server to focus on it if you make them write a personalized message on a dessert plate.
Love that. Bonus question, how's Ovation been helpful for you?
Ovation has been a game changer. I've seen you speak several times. Everybody tells me how great it is, and I was just reluctant to pull the trigger. So glad I did. In the moment, we get the feedback. We're able to save guests while they're still in the restaurant. It's been amazing. And our scores are going up because all of the good scores get kicked up directly to, Google and TripAdvisor. And anything that's not a great score, we're able to track and fix those operational problems right away.
A tool only works if you work it, and you obviously work it and you care. So Thank you. This is the Two Question Podcast with.
I'm Mike Bausch, owner of Andolini's Worldwide and Foods Group in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and big user of a certain product, Ovation.
What should restaurants be focused on for the next 12 months?
Experience driven, everything experience, because it's either value conscious or convenience conscious or experience conscious. Independent restaurants, they're not going to win those first two. So experience is where it's all at. How are we enhancing the customer experience? Not like with money, like it just the little things to make it like, oh, I have to go there. I'll drive an extra mile or I'll pay an extra $5 because that makes me feel good today. That's where it's all at.
Yes, love that. And what would you say as a tactic to improve the guest experience?
Everything is either increasing purchase pride or decreasing purchase anxiety. Knowing no matter what, I'm going to be okay, or, oh my God, I'm so smart for buying this. Those are the two things that at any given moment we're trying to achieve.
Oh, I love that framework. Okay, bonus question. How has Ovation helped you?
If you know how much I'm a fan of Ovation. I speak the praises. No independent restaurant should not have that product. I do not like buying apps. Apps I try to proprietarily create myself through Google Sheets and automations. There's no way for me to do that better or even in the realm of what you've created with Ovation to have loss prevention and review incentivization, which currently the number one pizza reviewed city in America is
Tulsa.
Well, that's New York.
Oh,
but
New
number
York.
two
New
is
York.
Tulsa. Number two is Tulsa, and we are the best reviewed pizza in Tulsa, and it's in no short reason to the engagement we get from having more reviews via Ovation.
And having someone like you who cares and crushes it. Mike, thank you. Buzzing. All right, here we are, Two Question Podcast with
Shauna Smith
And Andrew Smith.
with
of
Savory.
What should restaurants be focused on for the next 12 months?
I'd say delivering on quality, on service, on consistency.
Storytelling. Tell your story better.
What is a tactic that restaurants can use to improve the guest experience?
Training, making sure
Ooh,
you have
training,
the right
good one.
people in front of the customer and make sure they are trained.
Love that.
Accuracy. It's so frustrating when you do not
Yes,
get the
that
right
one
stuff.
too.
Yes.
Be accurate. Take a couple more seconds and be accurate.
Gosh, that's a good one. That's actually probably better.
Love that. Bonus question. How's Ovation been helpful for you guys?
Oh, it's been a game changer. Overall, I would think Ovation, we know that there's feedback. We don't always know what the feedback is. We need to know that so that we can be better. And so getting that feedback is so invaluable for us. We are able to change what we're not doing right immediately. So I would say that has been invaluable.
Love it.
We don't use anything else. Just use Ovation.
Love it. Love you guys. The Two Question Podcast. I am here with
Amy Hom,
of
Barcelona Wine Bar. No,
What-
really, it's Ovation. I'm with Ovation.
What should restaurants be focused on for the next year?
Investing in their team members' development so that they can take care of their guests.
What is a tactic to improve the guest experience?
Focus on development plans so that they understand how to do it and what the mission is when they're engaging with their guests.
Amazing. By the way, I have never gotten a text message from the person I was interviewing while I was interviewing them. That was pretty meta. Buzzing. Two Question Podcast. I'm here with
Brian Meredith. Me.
of soon to be nothing. Retired.
Yeah, that's
Love.
right. 11:45:01 tomorrow, Sunday the 18th. I'm done.
Okay, so after an entire career in restaurants, what would you say next 12 months, what should restaurants be focused on?
Wow. I think you really need to take a look at your technology. Do you have too much? How can you merge things together, or are you actually using everything you have?
Amen. Talk to your vendors. See, I guarantee you there's things that they're doing that you're paying for that you're not using. Second question, what should people do to improve the guest experience in their restaurants?
Get back to understanding the true meaning of hospitality. You've invited them into your home to feed them, treat them as such. Make them want to come back.
Amen. Buzzing. Thanks, Brian. Two Question Podcast here with
Dean LeBay, LA capital VAY.
of
LeBay and Company, New Orleans.
If you couldn't tell by the accent. And Dean, you are a industry icon on LinkedIn. So, want to get your take. What should people be focused on for the next 12 months?
Retention of the customers that you've got coming into your business, making sure you keep them, and with that you'll have retention of employees. Right now I'm finding that the biggest problem that restaurants are having is they can't find good help. Work on the retention of the customer, your business will grow.
So, what would you say is a tactic that restaurants can use to improve the guest experience?
Act like a human being, act like you care. Kind of like that, you did a podcast here not too long ago with a lady talking about agape love.
Oh,
And
yeah, Jane from Donato's.
Jane, yes. That's exactly what we need to do. We need to start loving our customers a little bit more than just, as a transaction. Love the customers that are coming into your restaurant, treat them with love, and I promise you, your business will grow.
Two Question Podcast here with
Rusty Bills
of
Wiener Schnitzel, COO.
What should restaurants be focused on for the next 12 months?
Labor management,
and elevating your data.
Ooh, love that. That is some like deep stuff for a COO, man. Normally it's like just the basic restaurant stuff, but there we go. You got to get into the data there. What is a tactic to improve the guest experience?
One of them is to understand what your customers are experiencing. So you got to get feedback before you can make any improvements. So I believe the data that you receive from rich data from your customers is going to be more impactful. Using technology in a smart way and helping your crew provide a better experience based on the feedback you receive. So
Buzzing. Love that. Thank you. 2-question podcast here with
Selfie Cam Activate. My name is Rev Ciencio, and I point at food on the internet.
And you are with?
I am with Rev Ciencio. I'm the CMO of Salad House and the head of marketing for Crazy Pita, and the co-founder of Handcraft Burgers and Brew.
Next 12 months, what do restaurants need to focus on?
Guest retention, and that starts with making sure you collect their data.
And what is a tactic that you've used to improve the guest experience?
That is a great question. So, and I swear you did not ask me anything before we started. It's get feedback from every guest on every single order so that you can diagnose what's going right or what's going wrong. And honest to God, this is the truth. When the Salad House franchisees call me and they go, we need help because we're having whatever problem, the first thing I do is go into Ovation and I look at a summary of what's happening in their store. And within 3 minutes, I have an idea of where they're at and what they need.
Buzzing. Thanks, Rev.
There was no preload. That is absolutely the truth.
2-question podcast. I am here. Oh, we got a special guest, Ellis. All right, 2-question podcast. I am here with
Brian Gronfin with the Restaurant Boss.
What is something that restaurants should be focused on for the next 12 months?
Financials. Obviously, things have gotten a little more challenging, a little more difficult. Previous to maybe the last 2 years, it's always been this focus on the top line, everything else will work itself out. That's generally my suggestion. But as things are tightening up, what we're finding is even if your top line's down 10%, most of my operators, my clients are still able to bring the same margin to the bottom line by just getting a little more intentional with every expense. So you really need good systems financially.
Love that. What is a tactic to improve the guest experience?
You've got to connect with your guests in a more genuine level. And again, I would say as the economy has changed a little bit, people are still going to go spend money. But if they're going to spend 20% less of their money on restaurants, they're going to be more particular about where they go. And the way that they're going to make that decision is not necessarily on how good the food is. It's part of it, but it's going to be on, am I spending my money at a place I want to spend my money? So give them a reason to want to spend their money with you, and you shouldn't see any effect on your top line. And if you focus on the financials, you could probably do better on your bottom line now than you ever did before.
Buzzing. Thanks, Ryan. All right, 2-question podcast here with
Kathleen Wood of Kathleen Wood Partners.
What should restaurants be focused on for the next 12 months to thrive?
The number one thing that restaurants should be focused on for the next 12 months is their customer experience. Customers want value, not discounted food, but value from food, service, and the overall experience. That's why Ovation is such a great solution.
Oh, geez. Wow. Well, thank you. Besides Ovation, what's a tactic that restaurants can use to improve the guest experience?
Right now, I think what restaurants should focus in on is really their service experience. So many people have their food dialed in, but with the amount of work that they've done to dial in their food, they need to dial in their service, both online and in person. This is where the money can be found.
Buzzing. Thanks, Kathleen.
Thank you.
All right, 2-question podcast. I'm here with
Kip Welsh, president of Via 313 Pizzeria.
What should restaurants be doing for the next 12 months to thrive?
To drive is going to have to all be about new menu items, new incentives for guests, loyalty rewards, and then making sure that delivery on hospitality is the strongest it's ever been. More competition in the space, and that's we're going to stay relevant.
Amen. And what is a tactic that they can use to improve the guest experience?
All about engagement from the inside of the dining room to third-party and takeout and delivery experience, making sure that the guest is feeling hospitality as well as gold standard food and beverage experiences.
Love that. Bonus question, how's Ovation been helpful for you?
Ovation has been a game changer for us. The quick response time, the fact we can engage with a guest when there is an issue so quickly, catch them inside of the restaurant, turn them around and wow them with an experience. It's driven our guest sentiment scores through Ovation, through Google. Could not be happier with it.
Well, it works because you work it, you care, and you rock. All right, 2-question podcast here with
David Youngberg, CEO of Stonefire Grill.
All right, David, what should restaurants be focused on for the next 12 months to thrive?
Traffic. I mean, getting people in the door, and how you're going to do that is through engagement. It's through a differentiation of making sure that you have good food and that you're different from your competitors. You serve great food, you provide great hospitality, and it's a winning combination.
And what is a tactic that restaurants can use to improve the guest experience?
I would say loyalty, making sure that you have great food items, that you're bringing great LTOs in, that you're doing anything and everything that you can to show your guests that the dollar that they spend inside your restaurant is gold.
All right, 2-question podcast here with
Zeno Carr from Garden Catering.
All right, Zeno, what should restaurants be focused on for the next 12 months to thrive?
The guest experience. So making sure you're connecting with your guests on a one-to-one level, knowing who they are, what they like, their frequency, how you can increase that frequency. So the data is king right now.
Data. And what is a tactic that you would recommend to improve the guest experience?
Make sure you're listening to your guests and you're responding to them with a useful tool like, I don't know, do you know any like useful? Maybe something like that? Yeah. Use Ovation. Use Ovation and make sure that you're maximizing the value that you get with all the different tools that Ovation provides so you can reach out to your guests.
Amen. Buzzing. Thanks, Daniel. All right, 2-question podcast here with
Peter Riggs
of
Pita Pit and Thor's Skier.
What should restaurants be focusing on for the next 12 months to thrive?
Doing better.
Amen. How could they be doing better?
Anyone who told you that there is not enough money and people are shrinking their spending has misinformed you. They're just spending it somewhere more interesting. So do better, work on your operations, your customer experience, all that, and create reasons for those guests to come back into your restaurant. Because that's the biggest problem. It's not that they didn't like you, it's not that they didn't have a good experience. They just got busy and forgot you were there, and it's not their fault. You need to get out there and remind them that you're worth coming back for.
Wow, knowledge bombs. Second question, what is something that restaurants can do to improve the guest experience?
Well, I think one of the biggest things they could do is probably work on making sure their reputation management is solid, because anyone who hasn't tried your establishment is going to look at it on the online reviews, primarily through Google, and they're going to see if you've got bad reviews, if they're low star ratings, and if they're unresponded to, it's going to be a big problem for you. So using something like Ovation is a strong pathway to make sure that customers are coming in to your restaurant. And I'm being serious, because you have to do what you need to do in your restaurant to retain the guests, but part of attracting the guests is making sure that when they look into you, that they're seeing what's an accurate representation of your business online, and the only way to make sure that you're getting that done in real time is through a company like Ovation.
Amen. Well, thanks, Peter. Buzzing. All right, here we are, 2-question podcast with
Greg Majewski
of
Craveworthy Brand.
Greg, what should restaurants be focusing on in the next 12 months to thrive?
Labor and food costs.
Question 1A, why?
Because it's the most important and it's the most out of whack right now. So if you spend attention on those two items, no matter what, and keep those where they're supposed to be, you should be able to make money no matter what your sales do.
What's a tactic that restaurants can use to improve the guest experience?
Ovation!
Question 2B, how has Ovation been helpful for you?
It gives us instant access to feedback and everything else, but more importantly, if you actually look at the data it provides, you can see insights from your consumers before your managers or you ever get to know. If things are going wrong, complaints, if they're bitching about price, anything of that nature, you know before anyone else does, and you can adjust it at that moment.
Buzzing. Thanks, Greg.
Bye.
All right, 2-question podcast here with
Michael Ungaro
of
Kings of Fish and San Pedro Fish Market.
What is something restaurants should be doing for the next 12 months to thrive?
100% AI. Don't just think you know it. You got to get into it. You got to learn how to kind of adopt it, bring it into your practices, and look at where it applies until you get ready to adapt to it, and then exploit the hell out of it.
Love it. What is a tactic that restaurants can use to improve the guest experience?
We are an experiential brand where we let customers touch their products and pick out their products. So anything you can do to give the customer an experience that's memorable outside of just sit down, order, eat, and leave, I think it's going to stick with them. You want to hit them in the heart. You want them to walk out with a memory about that.
Buzzing. Thank you. All right, 2-question podcast here with
Tony Smith
of
Restaurant 365.
He is Restaurant 365. Anyway, Tony, what should restaurants be focused on for the next 12 months to thrive?
Oh, I think they got to be profitable. They got to be running a streamlined, efficient business, great visibility into everything that's happening there.
And what is a tactic they can use to improve the guest experience?
Labor management. You need employees to stick around. You need them well trained.
Employee experience cannot exceed the guest experience. Thank you, Tony. Buzzing. All right, 2-question podcast here with
Scott Gilman
of
Dine Technology.
All right, Scott, what should restaurants be focusing on for the next 12 months to thrive?
It's always been the same thing. Sales, food costs, and labor costs. One department works on sales and the other works on food and labor, and that's the key to success.
And what can a restaurant do to improve the guest experience? What's a tactic that you've seen?
Well, this is a layup, Zach. Obviously, you need to know what's going on with the guests. You need to be able to quickly get their feedback, what's really good and what's not so hot. So, you're the best player in the game at getting guest sentiment, and, what you've done is amazing. It really gets to the point. You make it very easy for the guests to tell you exactly what the pain points are or exactly what your great successes are. So they just need Ovation in every restaurant in America, and we'll be in a much better place.
Buzzing. Thanks, Scott.
Okay, Zach, I don't want to get political there, but you're definitely making restaurants great again.
Uh-oh. All right, here we are with a 2-question podcast. I am here with
Dawn Gillis
of
Golden Corral Corporation.
Dawn, what should restaurants be focused on for the next 12 months to thrive?
Focusing on your guest and making sure that you're operating with excellence.
And what is a tactic that restaurants can use to improve the guest experience?
Hospitality all the way. Be nice, serve your guests with a smile, and be present. Make sure your food's good.
Buzzing, back to the roots, thanks. All right, 2-question podcast here with
Chris Trelawer
of
Plant Burger.
All right, Chris, what is something restaurants should be focused on to thrive in the next 12 months?
Customer satisfaction.
1A, why?
The best way to grow sales, more than anything else you can do, is just take good care of people. People will always come back. They receive amazing service. So I think outside of marketing, outside of everything, as long as you take really good care of people, I actually think it's even more important than how your food tastes sometimes, because everyone, in my opinion, that's in the business has really good product. It's why they got into the business. The key differentiator out there, honestly, is service.
Hot take. And what is a tactic that restaurants can use to improve the guest experience?
Feedback, man. You got to constantly be interacting with your guests and know what they're saying. One of the biggest things I see out there is that we receive negative feedback, right? Because people who have negative feedback are way more likely to give it to you than any of the positive or kind of the middle of the row feedback. So you've got to constantly prompt them. I also think it really helps you, and we maintain about a 4.6 on all of our Google, Yelp, all that kind of stuff. And it's because we're very aggressive with, not aggressive, I don't want to sound like we're like forcing customers, like, give us feedback now. We believe wholeheartedly that the more feedback you get, you're going to get so much more positive. If you're not prompting people for feedback, all you're going to ever receive is the negative, because in most cases, the overwhelming majority of your customers are happy, right? Unless you're doing a really terrible job, in which case you'd be out of business. So the more that you can prompt feedback, A, you can improve your business, and B, you'll see your scores go way up, because people will then go to Yelp, go to Google, go to all these other places and give you feedback.
Love it. Bonus question, how has Ovation been helpful?
I think a big part of the reason that we have these high review scores on all these platforms is because we use Ovation to prompt people to give us feedback. And because it's so easy. The last thing you want to do, being a consumer myself, is go through 30 questions on like, what did it feel? How was the food? Was it too cold? How were the bathrooms? I don't want to do that, man. Just ask me, was it good? Was it not good? Boom. And then I'm done.
Buzzing. Thanks, Chris.